Welcome back to the Ringdown Podcast. Today we're giving you an inside scoop on our new training center with our special guests, Chief Fleitz and Captain Focht. I'm Hope Escobar.
And I'm Casey Fury. Today we're talking about something that's crucial to all firefighters, training. And we have some big news here in Roanoke with the stand-up of our new training center.
Second line, knockdown there, very fire.
So to break it all down, we have two guests with us today, Battalion Chief Fleitz, who oversees our training division, and Captain Focht, one of our lead instructors. Welcome to the Ringdown Podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Chief, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Let's hear a little bit about your background, what got you into Fire-EMS, how your career progressed, and how you ended up in training.
Okay. Going back to high school, I grew up in Richmond. After being born in Cincinnati, I ended up in Richmond. That's where I went through high school, and I didn't have any clue what I wanted to do when I grew up. And one of the guys I rode to school with was a volunteer firefighter. So one day we stopped by. We used to stop by the firehouse on occasion, and he brought up joining one time. So I had no idea what that meant. I joined up and started learning about the fire service, and here I am today. So I joined when I was about 17 as a volunteer in Chesterfield, and once I graduated high school, I went to community college for a couple of years to get my associate's degree, and then I started looking for a job, and I ended up out here in Roanoke. This was the first place that offered me a job after some unsuccessful attempts at getting hired in various departments, and so I got here. I learned all about it. I enjoyed it, and I've stayed. I've been here 26 years.
Awesome. And Captain Focht, same question for you. How did you end up in the training division, and how did you get into the fire service?
So much like Chief here to my right, in 2006, I joined as a volunteer just outside of Charlottesville in a department called Lake Monticello Volunteer Fire Department. And I graduated high school in 2007, and I left and went to Virginia Tech, where I graduated in 2012. And post-graduation came to work for Roanoke Fire-EMS in 2013. Most recently transferred to the training division to help with incumbent training with our department as we stand alone our new training center, get it up and running and moving forward. An opportunity came up for us to start having some more robust incumbent training. And so I took that opportunity.
So you mentioned a new training center, so we'll jump right to that. That's big news, right? Roanoke City Fire-EMS standalone training division.
It's really big news. This is something that I guess we kind of started, I don't know, about a year ago, maybe a couple years ago, that we started talking about the possibility, and just due to the fact that the regional training center didn't quite have the capacity for the rate at which we were hiring. It's not located in the city, and we had an opportunity to move into the city and have a lot more room for us, and it's worked out very well so far. So we started moving in November. Our classes started in January. Just today, for instance, we have 2 emergency management classes going on. We have an EMS class that's going to start, and we have a recruit school going on. The department as a whole has really loved the fact that we've moved to where we're at, that we're accessible, and we have a huge gym in the back that they love using.
Yeah, and it's awesome how everyone can go and use that gym as well. Not only people that are working at the training division, but everybody in the department. I know that's been a really great resource for everybody as well.
And I think since we've opened, the use of that gym is increased exponentially. I mean, people are using that gym. Our department's using that gym constantly. There's almost always somebody back there working out and taking care of themselves.
That's awesome. And how do you guys see that translating into performance on calls, where we have an area where people can go and work out, they can continue to better themselves? How does that translate on calls every single day?
Well, I think it's, mental health and physical fitness is a huge part of this job. And so having the ability to have a place that is part of your facility, part of your training center where you can go work out will just increase the well-being of our department, both physically and mentally. The camaraderie, every once in a while you'll go in the mornings. I typically come to work fairly early, And from time to time, we'll catch up with groups from a shift that are working out prior to going to work as a group. So you'll get 3 or 4 guys that are good friends. They'll come in early in the morning, they'll work out at the gym, and then they'll head to work. And I think that is something that we have not had while our stations have gyms inside of them. This expands our abilities for physical fitness beyond what we've ever had before.
Agreed. And I think if you look at the caliber of employee that we're hiring now, that's something they're looking for. They are taking care of their bodies. They're paying attention to latest health trends, and they're staying physically fit. So while all of our stations have a workout area, some better than others, this is a lot bigger area that they're able to use. And because we were very fortunate to get a huge donation from Planet Fitness, and it just plays very well to them being able to get out of their own station. They come to the training center. They work out there before, after, or even during the shift, and I think it just works out for them very well.
Where do you see the training center going? Right. So right now, we're still kind of in that beginning stage of developing it in terms of props, buildings, abilities. What is your vision for that site?
It's a great question. I just started sitting down to work on a 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan, and that's just for the infrastructure of the training division, not where we'll end up, because where we're at right now might just be it may not be a long-term fix. We may decide to move out to another place and build a brand new facility. That would be like a 10 or a 15-year plan. But as far as the infrastructure of what we have right now, my goal is to build out as much as we can there. Inside, outside, you mentioned the props. We have a drill tower down the street next to Station 11. It's about a half mile away. We're going to build a burn building there in its place. And then, so all of our burnable props will be down the street. And then all of our non-burning props will be on site there. And I foresee a good bit of props. We have several Connex boxes. We're getting some more in this week.
Yep.
So we haven't even started building that, but we should be able to start building that here in the next couple weeks. And it will play very well into us having homegrown classes that we offer to firefighters from across the state and beyond to have right here in Roanoke, as well as the classroom space. And then there's some other opportunities within the building that we're still hoping for.
With you being, over incumbent training, now having the facilities located within our jurisdiction, do you see a benefit on that with being able to do more on-duty training and stuff like that, as opposed to where we used to have to travel, especially like Station 6, 11, 14, going all the way to Salem, was sometimes logistically challenging?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it certainly helps having our facilities in the city. It makes it easier for us to recover people should a large incident occur. It makes it easier for us to get people in and out for training so that they can come in for, a portion of their day and then return to operations so that we can get other companies in. Certainly we can't bring the entire operational staff down at one time because we have an obligation to the citizens to make sure that they're getting the coverage that they deserve. The other thing that we've been working on here pretty heavily in the last month or so are acquired structures. Well, we have one acquired structure that operations has spent some time training in now. We have some additional training coming up for that, hopefully in the month of April. And then we were fortunate enough just the other week to get some additional acquired structures that we're going to be able to use for both our recruit school and for operational training. And I think that's a value that it's invaluable. Being able to be in an environment that is truly a house and not a burn building, you just can't replicate it. Even if we're not actively burning it, the opportunities for all kinds of training is just invaluable. So we've been very fortunate in the last month or so to really increase our training and operations in things that we haven't had before. Or we've had, but it hasn't been as frequent.
Right. Yeah, these are structures that are built and lived, through the eras of Roanoke City, right? A true realistic environment in which you're going to face, as opposed to a burn building where you can only configure it X number of ways, and you start to learn it, as a firefighter going into it.
Yeah, your textures are different, your feels are different. You have hardwood floors, you have drywall, you have things that you just don't have in a burn building. Inside of a burn building, you have metal windows, for example. These have true, realistic windows inside of them. So just that feel, the heights are different. You can smoke these up. Some of the recent acquired structures that we got, one of them's a small apartment complex. That's hard to duplicate in a burn building.
Absolutely.
Certainly Connex boxes and those types of things have helped be able to make things a little bit more realistic, but still acquired structures are.
What are some of the drills that y'all are looking forward to hosting in these acquired structures?
So operations just finished doing a bunch of search training, RIC training, hose line deployment in a smaller house that we're finishing up training now. Some exciting news is that we're going to burn that structure in April. So for the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but 20-ish years, we're going to have a live burn in an acquired structure. And that is something that, again, is invaluable to our operational staff to have that opportunity. So that's a big one. Some of the recently obtained acquired structures, the recruits are going to have some opportunity to do some forcible entry training in them, search and rescue training, ladders, ventilation, all those sort of things. And doing those inside of a building, inside of a residence, inside of a house, inside of an apartment complex is far superior to doing them in a burn building. So we have a lot of exciting things coming up over the next few months.
I'm excited about the opportunity, and I'm not sure the audience for this podcast. I guess it could be just about anyone, but and of course we aren't taking questions from the public, but the captain mentioned about our burn buildings are metal; they're reusable for burning in a very controlled environment, and the benefit of burning an actual house, and that means we set small fires inside the house, and it's very realistic to what our firefighters run into whenever there's a residential fire, really. So we get to offer them the training environment that is very realistic, and we're looking forward to this. It's been 22 years since we've done this, so we're looking forward to this. We're looking forward to being able to do this a little bit more in the future.
And one of our jobs as the training cadre is to make sure that we are providing training to not only our recruits, but to operations that is as realistic as possible. Things that they're going to see. So having these structures that were built here in Roanoke that are similar to things that they're going to see when the recruits hit the streets or when operations, has that next bell hit, is invaluable.
Let's switch to recruit school. I'm sure we have listeners that find this podcast that are interested in becoming members of our department in the future or applying.
Absolutely.
Applications open up soon for the next academy. They open
April 1st. So anyone who is interested in joining our team, you can go to RoanokeFire-EMS.com and click careers. We'll have the links there for the applications as well as dates for pre-employment testing for the upcoming hiring process.
So, Cap, I know you've never been assigned directly over recruit schools, but you've been an instructor for numerous different types of classes. And then, Chief, you've been at the training center in different roles. Can you walk us through, a day in the life of a recruit?
Sure. They start the day early. I think our recruit schools right now are starting at 7 a.m. They get there a little bit earlier. It's a full day. It's 7 to 5. It's constant learning. Our recruit school right now is about to finish their EMT class, which I think is 8 weeks. The full recruit school is 23 weeks. So they get to learn to be an EMT. They get to learn to be a firefighter. We do firefighter 1 and firefighter 2. We do some heavy technical rescue classes. We do hazmat operations, as well as some other classes that they need. And by the time that they graduate, they have all of the basic fundamental classes that we need them to have. And then they go right out into the field. They're riding fire apparatus, they're riding the ambulances, and they're providing care to the citizens and visitors of Roanoke. We've had a good bit of turnover over the past few years. We've done a lot of recruit schools recently, and I know that there's some potential of some more retirements next year. So we're looking at several more recruit schools over the next couple of years. and we welcome it. We welcome anyone that's interested in working for our department, other departments. They can reach out to us. We're happy to have them on a ride along. We're happy to explain to them what they're looking for, and maybe even offer a recruiter or a mentor to help answer questions for them personally.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add there is I have, like you said, Casey, I've been involved in recruit school teaching at the instructor level for many years now. In this new position where I'm actually assigned in the training division as the incumbent training captain, I don't work with the recruits daily in a direct role. But what I do is see them every day. And I see, it's nice in this position because I see the progress that they're making. I see their improvement in PT. I see their improvements. And then in another 6 or 8 weeks, I'm going to go in and teach a class with them. And they know who I am, but I don't have direct involvement with them. So I get to kind of have that third-party removed view where I get to see things from a different lens because I'm not constantly with them day in and day out. So sometimes I get that... I get to look in and say, no, that person really is, man, look at that improvement that they're making. The lead instructor that is actually directly over the oversight, Lieutenant Sweeney, that's the oversight of that academy. Look at the good work that he's doing to get these recruits developed and built and ready for the first day of company. So that's an exciting position for me, which is a change. Typically, I would come in and teach a few classes. I would be involved in recruit school, but this is a little bit of a different opportunity for me to kind of really see how the nuts and bolts of recruit school work day in and day out for 22 weeks.
And it is really such a change from the first day of recruit school. I know in my past position in the fire department, I was helping a lot with recruitment and the hiring process. So seeing, sometimes as kids coming right out of high school, day one, you see them going into recruit school like they're nervous and everything. Everyone's nervous on their first day. Then you see them on graduation day, and the change is just amazing. I know you've said before, Chief Fleitz, you said we have a 0 to hero process. In those 23 weeks, just the amount of growth is crazy.
Recruit school is by far the most fun that you never want to have again.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, right?
Is, yeah. My recruit school went from July to December. So we got to experience, moving here from up north, got to experience the heat and then the freezing cold, and then facing, firefighting conditions in all different environments was, important. And we had a lot of people that had experience, but we had a large group that it's the first time they'd ever put on turnout pants, So from your role, you have people, this is brand new to them. They might have a really good sense of, well, I think this is what I want to do. And, doubt can creep in, right? How do you keep recruits motivated, to continue the process, even when they think that maybe they're not doing as well as they probably are?
We stay very candid with the recruits throughout the entire process. If we identify a conversation that needs to be had or whatever, we have that conversation. And we have recruits that have doubts through the process. At times we've lost several recruits, great recruits that have just simply changed their mind. And, that's acceptable. It's certainly acceptable. This is a very different job than most in that you're hired, but then you go through the entire training process that's almost 6 months long. And then you finally get to start actually doing the job, which is very different than your 7 to 5 job during recruit school. Now you're out working shifts. You're working 24-hour shifts, which is a long time. You're working with a whole other family that you're getting to know as a recruit that comes out in the field. You're away from, if you have a family, you're away from your family. We hire at 18, as you mentioned, Hope. So there's a lot of our recruits are younger than 21, which used to be the norm that we hired at. And for a lot of them, this is their first full-time job, and it's got to be interesting for them. It's got to be a shock to the system that, hey, now they're out and, this is it. And it's very enjoyable. I think they enjoy it. It's just a shock. I remember myself coming from being a volunteer to recruit school, which for us, it was abbreviated. I went to a 12-week recruit school that was right here in this building, actually. we went 6 days a week. That was a huge shock. But the biggest shock for me was going from the volunteer to the paid. And as a volunteer, you come and go as you want. You do all that stuff. I was doing other things. I had a job. I was going to school, etc. And here is, you're at the firehouse. That's the job. You're there for 24 hours. I remember that being a shock. So I'm sure it is for some of our younger recruits, etc. But
one of the other cool things about the current position that I'm in is, sometimes there are recruits that maybe are down for whatever reason it is. Maybe they've struggled in PT, maybe they've had a bad day, maybe it's something in their personal life that they've brought with them to work that morning. So not being directly involved with them every day, it's sometimes you just kind of pull them aside and you say, hey, come on, let's take a walk. You're not having a good day. Or I don't know, I don't understand why you're down on yourself. You really are improving in your PT. So the chief doesn't necessarily get to see that side of things as much because that's more along the lines of my responsibility in some regards, but especially being a little bit more removed from their day-to-day operations and their day-to-day life, sometimes just having that person that's like, no, keep your head up. You are doing a good job. It is important, right? It's our job to teach them. It's our job to encourage them. But it's also our job to look out for them. They are our employees, and we have that obligation to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, recruit school is a challenge. We do not run a easy academy by any means. I think the benefit of our department, especially now in our standalone capacity, is that you have groups of instructors that want to be there to teach. They're not, there for themselves, for their egos. They want to produce employees for this department that they're going to want to work with out in the streets. I think that is an important mindset to have, and that one that our agency does have, which is beneficial to the recruits. Really gives them a good education and a good foundation, and they get to see faces they're going to work with, once they get out, as opposed to, coming to the regional school. I had a lot of instructors that, worked for other localities. They were great instructors, but I couldn't lean on them as much, getting out into company. But I think now we have that opportunity.
That's right. Yeah, it's passion that drives our instructors, I think, really. They're passionate about what they do. They're passionate about teaching, and they're passionate about making sure that they're part of the process of getting this person through recruit school to becoming a firefighter. And then, then they have to live with them. Mm-hmm. So they want to make sure that they're creating the firefighters they want to work with, because, again, they're living with them for 24 hours. So it's important. And we're always looking at our processes. We're always looking at improving. With our move to a new training center, we look to make a lot more changes with our recruit school to make it change how we need. There's a lot of talk we've mentioned about hiring 18-year-olds and it being their first job and them not having all the life skills that others have had in the past. And you certainly, I think it's generational, and I think things change. But when our recruits graduate and become firefighters, our guys out on the street are expecting them to be able to show up and know how to do their laundry and cook meals and clean and all this stuff. And we're going to look to add some of that into recruit school, I think. But also, I think our guys do a really good job of teaching them what they need to know once they get out in the field as well.
And I think it's also important for the listeners to understand that a lot of our instructors that are teaching these classes are operational staff. So these are instructors that are working in operations, 24-hour shifts on their regular scheduled days, and then they're taking their time off away from their families to come in and help mold the next generation of firefighters that are going to work in our organization. And that speaks volumes, because they could very easily be off and go home and do things that they want to do or attend to things that they need to attend to. So this department is very close-knit, and there's a lot of passion in this department. There's a lot of drive in this department. And so it's important for you guys to understand that they may have worked 24 hours and now they're coming in to teach in recruit school the next day for another 8 to 10 hours, depending on what class they're teaching. And so I think it's not somebody that's on 40 hours a week that's just there teaching. Now, they do have a lead instructor that is with them all the time, them being the recruits, but we rely heavily on operations to help make our recruit school successful.
It's definitely a team effort over at the training center. Every time I go over there for anything, whether it's a class I'm going to for myself or just to come and chat with you guys, there's always a bunch of new faces over there. So whether you're 18 or 40, you know, you're going through recruit school, adapting to the fire service culture, handling the stress, and staying resilient. How do you guys help them develop mental toughness through that? Because when they get out in the field, they're going to see some things that they probably haven't been exposed to before. How do you guys prepare them for that?
We're helping them understand their physical limitations, and then we're helping them increase those physical limitations. And then the mental toughness is very similar. We help them learn their mental capacity for dealing with stress, if you will. We assist in stretching that ability. One of the first classes we have in recruit school is our peer support team comes out and talks to them. And that's worked out very well for dealing with just that. What you mentioned is, some of the things that our members or firefighters and medics across the nation have to deal with seeing are difficult. They're difficult, and they're more difficult for some people than others. And so maybe we're just scratching the surface. Maybe we have a lot of work to do to help with that mental resilience, but I can assure you we're making strides in that. We're making attempts in increasing that.
Yeah, and I'll add something in on that, Chief. And they're recruits, but they're also humans, right? We push them because that's our responsibility, is to make them the best that we can make them. So sometimes, for example, during PT, we may ask for that additional repetition, that one more, to get that never quit mindset. But at the same time, and this just happened in this recruit school, it's our job and our obligation for them to understand that if there is something wrong, that they can come to an instructor and express their concern or issue. When we did SCBA Day with this set of recruits, the following day, there was an individual that reached out to the peer support team because of some issues that had happened. So that is available to them even in recruit school, and we will help make sure that those resources are available should they need it. Because it's our responsibility to make them the best that they can be, and let them find limitations that they didn't know they could get to. But it's also our responsibility to nurture them and take them from infancy to retirement if that's what they want to do.
What would you say, Chief, is your most rewarding part of the recruit school? Would you say it's graduation and seeing, start to finish, or, milestones during, everybody that's gone through recruit school in Roanoke has like your hard days, right? Forcible entry, that's going to be a hard day. Search is a hard day. Troutville is a hard day. Is it those days, like watching them overcome them? Or is it that moment you get to, call their name and see the badge go on their chest?
That's a really good question. I haven't really thought about that. Graduation is exciting, but I think my proudest day would be an individual, like I'd have that with each individual maybe, and they wouldn't know it. It's like when I notice, that person accomplished this, or that person made that breakthrough, that person realized why they're here, that person finally found the enjoyment that so many of us find in the work that we do. It's those moments, because I'm not with them. I'm not with them much at all because of everything we have going on. Mm-hmm. But I like to be able to step in and see what's going on and get to talk to them instead of simply ending up being the disciplinarian. If I need to be, I prefer them to see me and get to know me a little bit, or I get to know them a little bit. The other very big rewarding thing is to see them out in the streets on the calls. Yeah. And it's all run together. I've been in training for 5 or 6 years now, I think. So half the department has come through under while I've been at the training center. Yeah. And I get to see, them coming out of burning buildings and stuff. Yeah. I get to see them on the news. I get to see them make rescues. I get to see them go to their first fire. I get to see them show up to get CPR refresher and see how they're working with their crews and stuff. That's what's exciting to me. I get to see them enjoying what I've enjoyed during my career.
And then you also get to see them come back and help teach.
That's right.
Especially some of the ones that probably came through when you first went to training.
That's right.
Are now back helping mold the next recruit, which is really exciting.
That's right.
And I know with the new training center, last time I was over there in the classroom, you guys have the box or the frame that has all the badges in them. Do you guys go over that every single day with the recruits during class? Or I guess I know they're trying to earn that every single day. So how do you keep that motivation in the classroom every single day?
This is an idea we got from some departments in the Richmond area. I think Richmond's done it for years, is they hang their badge up in the recruit classroom in front of them every day, so they see that it is there, it is obtainable, and that's theirs.
Right, it's there for the taking.
And in the past, we just haven't had that. So that was one of the things that we really wanted to add to our recruit school, and so we did. So hopefully they see that with their badge, with their name above it, and they want, that's the goal. And we're going to take that off the wall, and we're going to take it to graduation, and the chief is going to pin that badge that's under their name right on their chest and come full circle. So hopefully they're seeing that as a reminder every day. This group is, we have a solid group of recruits. Hopefully this doesn't air till after they graduate. we have a solid group of recruits we're very proud of, just like every other group. But, like I said earlier, sometimes not everyone makes it. Sometimes they make different, they decide to do other things, and that's all part of it. Hopefully this time we get everybody to graduation. We're looking forward to it.
We've talked a lot about recruit school, and hopefully that inspires some people to look into our department and, apply and become firefighters here. Kind of switching, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are current employees. So to throw the ball into your court, Cap, what's the plans? What's coming up? What kind of classes are we looking at that can get the guys and the gals in the field excited about training at this new facility?
EMS classes, ladies and gentlemen. No, just kidding. No, so the chief and I have been working pretty diligently about getting not only just your standard DFP type classes, but doing other things. And we spoke a little bit about acquired structures earlier. We have some more of that's coming. So that's high on our radar. We talked about doing an acquired structure burn. We've got some driver pump operator classes that are coming on shift for the first time
on shift
since I've worked here. We put together a model. The chief and I put our heads together. We put together a model to allow us to do a driver pump operator class on each shift. So those are coming up this summer. That's really exciting. That's one of the most rewarding things about being in training, is that I get to make changes indirectly in operations and with the things that everybody's doing. So that's exciting. We've got an instructor one class that's coming up that starts in May. We've got the burn, the acquired structure burn that's going to happen, and then we're going to be doing company burns in the fall.
Okay.
So operations training is busy. We've got to balance making sure that we have logistical needs for recruit school along with things that are going on class-wise. So it's a balancing act. It certainly is. We've got some, in all seriousness, we do have some pediatric EMS CE coming up. We have an EMS skills day that we're working on putting together, because those are also important intangible skills that it may not be your favorite part of the job, but it is an important part of it.
It's a large part of it.
Yeah, it is a large part of it. And then, not to mention, we've got 3 paramedic classes going on now, in various stages. We have one that's getting ready to finish up, I think probably in May, maybe the first part of June, and then we've got one that just kicked off with the new training center. So we've got a lot of things going on incumbent wise as well. So the training center's very busy, a very busy place.
Yeah, I guess I was talking to Lieutenant Moomey, and there's even like other city departments utilizing that space, right? Which kind of shows the importance
quite
of the building.
Quite a bit. And so that's been my goal, is to fill every classroom every day. And we have a lot of work to do to get there. But we just finished department CPR, which we do every 2 years. Every member of our department goes through CPR recertification. And now we've started doing CPR for other departments within the city. We just started that last week, I believe, 2 weeks ago. We look to do more of that. There might be potential of doing some community CPR. But this training center, there's all that going on, incumbent training. There's all the recruit school stuff. We have 2 emergency management classes going on right now today. So there's a lot of other disciplines that are related to the fire service, but on a broader spectrum that we're hoping to host right there for others and for our own department members.
Yeah, and then I failed to mention, Casey, I'm sorry, but I mean, Rescue Week's coming up. Those things are happening at the company level. We just finished Ropes 1 class, which was a regional offering. Mm-hmm. We've got Ropes 1 training. So there are constantly things going on. Some of which were kind of in the works before I transitioned into training. So I forgot to, Rescue Week's coming up. I know that's a big favorite of yours.
Yeah.
So I was remiss to
That's where
leave
it's
it
at. How has that transition been for you?
It's been good. When you work in operations on a 24-hour schedule for almost 12 years, and then you transition into 40 hours, things are a little bit different. I wouldn't trade it. My boss is great. He takes.
That's what I hear.
He takes really good care of me.
He's definitely not sitting right here.
He takes really good care of me. So it's been different. But like I said earlier, one of the driving forces for me to go to training was the fact that we have the training staff, the training center has the ability to lay the foundation for our recruits and push our operational staff to levels that they've never seen before, to get them to be the best that they can be in the region and across the state. And that's what my goal is to bring them. I'll go back to the DPO class. Making that happen on duty was something that was a passion of mine. Mm-hmm. The chief really wanted it. We had to be able. That was a goal that he set for me. Hey, I think we can do this. Sit down and let's make this happen. And I don't know if our listeners understand, but this is a 64-hour class that will be taught completely on shift for our staff, so they don't have to take time away from their families. It just brings the bar up one more notch, because now that person that maybe is in paramedic class, which they do take off duties, can now also take this driver pump operator class that maybe they couldn't take before because it conflicted with their paramedic class.
Right.
So,
people with young families, second jobs, that those off days are hard to give up.
Exactly. Or you're giving up a bunch of them to do paramedic class, which is great, and we appreciate that, but now we're also able to get you in a DPO class. So we're able to raise the bar for our staff and the levels of training that they have without them ever really directly understanding or knowing that that's happening. So that's
exciting.
That's been the most exciting thing for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How do you guys at the training center keep up with new standards that are coming out, like evolutions and EMS? Just the more that we learn, the more things change. And sometimes staying sharp on those skills can be a matter of life and death in this career. What are some of the biggest areas that even seasoned firefighters need regular training on, and how do you guys monitor those changes as they're coming through?
Well, I think it's like anything. The fire service is ever evolving. It's ever changing. Best practices on the EMS side of things come through research. Those tend to come down from our medical director. We're actually in the process of working on standalone protocols with her now that are protocols specific to our agency. And those are going to follow best practices. But those are constantly changing. Mm-hmm. So we identify those needs, and then we hold things like EMS skills days or Con Ed classes to kind of make sure that they have the latest and greatest information on that side. From our fire side, that's also ever changing. You look back 15 years ago, thermal imaging really was there, but it wasn't there to the magnitude that it is now. Well, now there's talks of AI entering into the fire service and how that may change what we see on a daily basis. So it's forever changing. So we're constantly looking for opportunities to train. Let's go back to the acquired structures. Those are opportunities for our captains that run our companies to identify areas of weakness or areas that need improvement with their crews. And so they can use those acquired structures to help do that, to help fundamentally do that training. But at the end of the day, foundationally, while the fire service is changing, techniques change, there's always new literature on different topics, whether it's search and rescue, whether it's flowing water, any of that sort of stuff is always changing, but the foundation remains the same, right? What we need to do is get in and put the fire out and make the problem better. So how do we do that? Well, for years and years and years and years, it's been, entering the structure and putting the wet stuff on the red stuff, right? So that remains the same. So even as we bring technology in and we start looking at those sort of things, several years ago, we brought in a thermal imaging class as it was becoming a very big topic within the fire service. It was changing the way that we were looking at fires, looking at not just what is burning, but the heat currents and the convections that are above your head. We brought that class in to learn, to advance. So now when we teach fire suppression, we look at those sort of things. We take that sort of stuff into account that, yes, you may not be able to see the fire above your head, but there's a lot of heat behind you or potentially behind you, and that can be a bad thing. So we've learned from that. So we're constantly looking through conferences and through members of our department. We have an amazing group of men and women that work in this agency. So while I sit as the captain of incumbent training, I rely on people like Casey. I rely on other people that work within this organization to help bring training and new ideas to this agency.
Chief, how long have you been with the department?
I've been with the department for 26 years.
Do you think when you started that you would have seen the training division at what it is now 26 years ago? Do you think you could have forecasted this growth?
No, not at all. I mean, so right after I came here, 4 departments went into this regional training center, which was great. Has worked out very well. It's just the needs for some of the departments changed, and ours mainly. Chief Hoback did a really good job with this opportunity that we've taken with this new training center, and really, I don't really kind of took a chance. So we have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of work to do. I know that, but I didn't foresee it at all. And I think that ideally, in the outset of what we've just started to create, I think we're going to build a training site that we have firefighters from all over the state coming to very often, and very quickly. I think different departments across the state are finding out about what we're working on, what we're doing, which we have a lot of work to do. We've just started. But no, I didn't. And at the time when I was here doing training in a classroom and, very small restroom, we had 15 of us in there. No, I didn't know anything about training at the time other than what we had. And I think in comparison to what we had then and what we have now, the thing that stayed the same is we've had very passionate people that are involved in the training environment. That includes the instructors and the staff of the training division, but it also includes all of the passionate instructors we bring out over the years. So I think we can hang our hat on that. I think we've done a good job at keeping that going forward, and it's organic. It's not something we force. It's organic, and people come and go as they start families. Before that, they might have a lot of time. They start families, myself included, raising 2 children with my wife, and went away from teaching at recruit school, and then came back around once I had more time on my hands. So we have passionate instructors. We're very proud of it.
And I think that's a very important statement, Chief. A lot of what's happening here is organic. All of our instructors are organic. We're not forcing anybody to come in and teach. They're coming in to teach because of their passion and their drive. And just like you said, when they start families, and that's probably one of the most exciting times for me, going back to one of the questions that you asked earlier, is watching somebody like yourself, for example, as you come through recruit school and then you grow and develop, and then you've worked with me before I went to training. You worked with me for a while, but watching you be successful and watching you take all of the steps in your career and all the things that you are accomplishing, that's what is rewarding to me, right? That gives me the most satisfaction out of anything. It may not have been something that I did today or told you today, but it was something over a period of time that you picked up on. I don't get a choice in what you take away from me, right? That's organic. It's subconscious.
That was really nice. So proud of you. And Casey is Casey is about to be welcoming a new baby into the world coming up soon.
Well, that's where I was going with that, but I didn't know, so I stopped. But
baby girl.
But that's an extremely exciting time in your life, and you're going to have some limitations on things that you're going to be able to do at the training center. It's going to change your life, but that's okay. That's an exciting time. So you're going to step away for a little bit and focus on some other things, and then you're going to come back as time allows. And I think that's an awesome thing that happens within this organization.
Yeah, we're excited.
And it's awesome that the fire department has that sense of community where it's always family first. Like at every recruit school graduation, chief says it, you say it, everyone that's up there says family first. That's your most important choice, and fostering that in the department is awesome. So before we wrap up, for anyone who's listening who might be interested in becoming a firefighter, what advice would you all give to them?
Reach out. Reach out to our department directly. Reach out. We have the website, workfor.roanokefire-ems.com. We have a lot of information on there. But yeah, reach out. Call. The main number is 540-853-2327. You can call down. You can set up a ride along. You can ask for my email or my phone number to reach out to me directly if you have questions. We want to make sure that we're reaching everyone that might have interest in being a firefighter here for Roanoke Fire-EMS. We want to make sure they have that opportunity.
It's one of those things that if you have any interest in this at all, if you have the opportunity to volunteer and get a taste for it, that's great, but it's not required. Some of the people that enter into this were athletes, and so they have the physical fitness to be able to do this job. They understood teamwork, right? So just because you didn't volunteer doesn't mean that you can't come and work for Roanoke Fire-EMS. We are happy and excited to have anybody and everybody that's willing to work here. The thing about it is you got to have the drive. If you have the passion and the want to be here, we'll teach you everything that you need to know. You just got to have the passion and the drive to want to be here. And if you do, reach out. Like Chief said, we'll put our emails in here. You're welcome to reach out, do a ride along in operations. You come see the new training center. We do have a class coming up that I forgot to mention earlier. Our regional pump ops class is going to be coming up in early May. And that's going to be open to anybody in the region. So that will be coming out here in the next few weeks. So if you are already a volunteer or working in an agency and would like to take that class, I'm sure we'll have that up in the next few weeks on social media and areas for you to sign up for.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And do you guys have any words of wisdom for people that may be already a firefighter or people on our team to just stay on top of their game?
Take the opportunities to train. I'm constantly putting out classes that are either we're hosting or available in the area. And it's one of those things. You miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take.
Chief, you took it from me. That was going to be mine. And that's, but that's 100% right. You miss 100% of the opportunities that you don't take. The other thing that I'll add there is if you are considering doing something that you've never done before, remember that there's a difference between failing at something and being a failure. All too many times, just because you make a mistake and you fail at something, you will think that people think that you think that you're a failure. That's not the case. We make some of our greatest strides in learning and education when we do fail. Sometimes our recruits learn the most when I allow them to make a mistake that's not going to harm them, right? That's not going to get them hurt. But rather than intervening, I allow them to make that mistake, and then I step back and I say, what'd you learn from that? And they learn far more from that than they do by me intervening and interjecting and telling them what would have been right. So you miss 100% of the opportunities that you don't take. And that's a true statement.
I feel like I heard that somewhere before.
Yeah, he took it right out of my mouth.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining us today and for all the work you do to make sure our team and firefighters in the region are well trained and ready for the next call. To those who are thinking about a career in Roanoke Fire-EMS, be sure to check out our website, roanokefire-ems.com, and click careers. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Roanoke Fire-EMS.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, thank you. Whether you're a firefighter, an aspiring recruit, or just someone interested in what we do, we thank you for tuning into the Ringdown. Be sure to follow us for more episodes where we bring you inside Roanoke Fire-EMS. Until next time, we're in-house, ready for the next call.
Medic freeze on scene. Second line, knock down the exterior fire.